Has it gone?
It's gone now.
Oh, is it gone? Well, that was strange. I could hear myself very loudly, which wasn't good. Obviously, we're still waiting for a few others, but we'll make a start because I know time is very tight and it's very warm and everyone's probably kind of struggling a little bit. So I'd just like to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I'm Karen Williams. I'm the co-founder and Chief Executive Officer for Escape Arts. We are a creative health charity that have been operating across Warwickshire for over 20 years now, and we use arts, heritage and a whole range of social engagement to get people involved in their communities and to improve well-being and to really build those lovely vibrant communities, which is so important, especially now after the during still the pandemic, but hopefully rebuilding from the pandemic. So we're absolutely delighted. I'm not going to introduce all of the interns because that's part of their presentation and they will do it much more effectively than I will. But we are delighted for the second year to be working with Warwick University and Monash University. So we're working with students from Australia, Malaysia and the UK. And it's just a phenomenal experience for us as an arts organisation, but the feedback we've had from the students is also really positive. And it's about that cultural exchange and learning from each other. And they have done an amazing job supporting us with our climate change campaign and our plastic project, our Plastic Planet project, with which Alice will talk about. So I know we've got lots of people here today. We've got lots of members from the Escape staff team. We're waiting for the mayor. The mayor is hopefully going to be here. We have some of our lovely trustees. So we've got Miranda, who is our chair of trustees, who I know would like to speak at the end and give some feedback, and Stuart, our treasurer, and Sharon, our operations trustee. So welcome all. We've also got Esther from Warwick University, and we've got Carol from Warwick District Council, and we've got Friends of the Earth, and we've got Stratford Climate Change and Warwick University. So thank you. So delighted that you could all come. We've also got Penny just arrived from Welcome Radio, so that's lovely.
Hey there.
Hello, Penny.
Hi there.
Without further ado, I will hand over to Inka.
Thank you, Karen. So hello, I'm Inka and I'm a second year psychology student. I thought teamwork looked like a fantastic opportunity, and I have to say, as soon as I saw Escape Arts logo during the welcome webinar, I did email to say, just to let you know, I'm really interested in art. Like, I'm really interested, because as soon as I saw that logo, I just thought, I reckon I would love what they're doing. And I have absolutely loved the experience I've had. And after this, I'm just going to pass over to Mariam to introduce herself. And yeah, I'm from Warwick University.
So thanks, Inka. Hello, my name is Mariam, and I'm a student at Monash University, Malaysia, majoring in medicinal chemistry and biotechnology. So I joined Escape Arts this July as part of the teamwork program. I was super eager to join because I was really eager to collaborate with such a widely diverse set of individuals. And during this program, not only did I learn to communicate effectively across different time zones, but I was also able to refine my own understanding of sustainability and utilize my creativity when designing resources. And I really, really enjoyed the program. So that's all for me. Now I'll pass it over to Harry.
Thanks, Mariam. Yeah, I'm Harry. I'm from the University of Warwick. I study philosophy, politics and economics. I've really, really enjoyed the teamwork program, and we're so happy to be presenting to you today. I just thought I'd say some of the challenges we've overcome. So firstly, we had to work quite hard to kind of get a good idea of what Escape Arts wanted, and we had lots of meetings to discuss how we could progress and kind of achieve their vision. And the other challenge we've overcome, as Mariam mentioned, working across time zones is a bit of a challenge, but we've enjoyed it, we've embraced it, and hopefully we're going to produce something that you guys will enjoy. So I'll pass over to Anderson next to introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Anderson. I'm from Monash, Australia. I study computational science and international relations. And I guess I joined Teamwork just to have an experience working with an international group of the students. And honestly, the thing that jumps out to me the most during this internship is how crappy Teams is. It was very fun using that. Great thing we're on Zoom right now. Yeah, I'll pass it on to Hadia for introduction.
Hi everyone, my name is Hadia. I'm currently a first year student at the University of Warwick also, and I'm studying history and politics. And I really wanted to join the teamwork internship, initially just to create an impact and also to hone a lot of transferable skills, but more importantly in a global virtual community. And by partnering with Escape Arts, I've been able to do that and so much more. It's been such an incredible opportunity. And yeah, I'm very grateful for it. I will now pass on to Carly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carly. I'm a second year nutrition student from Australia. I honestly didn't know what to expect from this internship, considering it's actually my first internship ever. So I'm very proud and I am very privileged to be part of such an amazing project where everyone's super nice, very hardworking. So yeah, nice to meet you all. Hope you enjoy the presentation. I will pass it on to Danya.
Hi everyone, my name is Dinya. I'm from Warwick University and I'm studying politics and sociology. I'm currently in my first year. So I joined a teamwork internship, honestly, because it seemed fun, it seemed great, it seemed like an experience I really wanted to get involved in, especially because I'd be working with a bunch of different people from across the world. So the diversity really pulled me in. I actually joined the Escape Arts team a bit later. And I have to say, I'm really thankful to have joined the team. I really feel as if I fitted in quite well. I mean, I hope my teammates agree. And been able to make a substantial contribution and really contribute to the project that we really hope you all will enjoy. So yes, thank you.
So that was a little bit about us, and we're now going to pass on to our mentor Alice, who has done an incredible job amongst Neve and Karen. So we've really enjoyed our time working with them. So I'm going to pass over to Alice to kind of introduce why we will be presenting and have worked on what we have. So if I can pass over to you, Alice, and I'll share my screen for your slides.
Thank you, Inka. It's so nice to hear everybody's introduction, see how everyone's grown and developed through the course of the last 4 weeks. So my name is Alice, and I just recently graduated from the University of Warwick studying maths. And I'm super proud to be interning at Escape Arts for the past month. And that's an important part of my internship. I have been working with and mentoring the team's works international interns on the important message of climate change. So next slide, please, Inka. So I want to start by kind of setting the scene and share my research on why climate change is such a big deal. Next slide, please. So in a few months' time, the 26th UN Annual Climate Change Conference will be taking place in Glasgow, and many believe is the world's last best chance to get climate change under control. Next slide, please. Yeah, and the next one, please. And to just realize the importance of climate change, here's what happens with just a 2-degree difference to our atmosphere. So as you can see, there's species extinction, melting of the Antarctic sea ice, damaging the wildlife habitat, and water and food shortage risk. And this is just devastating. And the UK COP's goals are, next slide please, to have global net zero, protect biodiversity, and to mobilize finance. Next slide, please. So it's really heartwarming and reassuring to see the efforts already made by the countries across the world and to see the impact already created, as you can see on the slide here, of some of the main key facts that I've found. And at Escape Arts, we felt it was vital that we took on responsibility to unite communities together and promote the positive messages about climate change. And we kind of identified that making children more aware of climate change in a non-intimidating way is a brilliant step forward to promote this message. As such, we partnered with Stratford Climate Change Action and Stratford Friends of the Earth on our Plastic Planet installation. Next slide, please, Inka. Yeah, here you can see an animal from our project. Next slide, please. Yeah, so here's a brief introduction about our collaborators. Next slide, please. So over the past few weeks, we've collaborated with 9 different primary schools across the local area to kind of try to pique their interest in climate change. And I can tell just by visiting the schools, I could see how attentive and serious the children took on the message and how interested they actually were in our project. And I was really touched by how enthusiastic they were with our project. And that just proves more than ever that they need to be properly educated about climate change. Next slide, please. Yeah, so we made an animal each with the different schools, or about endangered animals in the UK, and everything's made from recycled materials. Next slide, please. And here's the window installation that's currently displaying in Stratford upon Avon in Debenhams. Next slide, please. Yeah, and we just recently had our launch event where we invited the mayor and the primary school children and our artists. It's been a brilliant event, and I worked with a brilliant group of international students who've actually produced the resources for the primary school children to really deliver our points across. And I just want to say the Teamworks internship students have went above and beyond with their resources and have even updated our Escape Arts environmental policy. So without further ado, I'm going to pass on to the team to tell you guys a little bit more about the amazing resources and work they have done.
Sorry, hello. So thank you so much, Alice. So here's kind of a little order of events so you know what to expect. So you kind of already heard our individual introductions, and we want to say welcome again. And then we're going to discuss who we are and what we're doing and why. And then I will pass over to each of the team members. We're all going to explain it a bit more, and you won't just have to hear my voice. So I'm hoping my PowerPoint will work. Let's try again. Okay, so what are we doing? We are Teamwork, as you now know, and we have been working with Escape Arts on the brief that they have given us. And it has been exciting, it has been challenging, and we have all learned a great deal. So not only are we an international team, which has been fantastic because you hear so many different opinions and different insights. It's just brilliant. And climate change is affecting all of us. So it just makes you feel like it's an even bigger thing and we're making a real impact. And working along with Plastic Planet, what we have done is we've created resources to hopefully support and further what Escape Arts, Stratford Climate Action and Stratford Friends of the Earth are already doing, as well as working towards what UK COP26 hopes to achieve. But this isn't just about us, it's also about you and what the children and the future can do. So we're working together to make an impact, and we can all do our bit, which we have definitely learned throughout this project. I just want to talk a little bit about the recycling symbol on your screen. So when I drew this, I suddenly thought, hey, you know what? That arrow tail looks like a cape. So then I started doodling, and I was like, and created this image, and I thought this could be quite good for children because they can really see that they can be a hero, that their actions do matter, they can make an impact, and they can save lives and make a better future. But it isn't just up to the children, it's also up to all of us. And so I'd just like to pass on now to Mariam to talk to you about climate change and sustainability.
So thank you, Inka. So the first resource we'll be presenting is our interactive PowerPoint presentation. This presentation can be used by schools during assembly or in class. So the reason why we chose to make a PowerPoint presentation is because we believe children learn best when they're actively involved, and also because it can be easily customized by schools as they see fit. The underlying theme of all our resources is to firstly inform and educate others on climate change and its effects, and then to inspire and empower others to take action and to take part in the fight against climate change. So next slide, please. So the information in our presentation is split into different sections like climate change, impact and effects, what can you do? and is interspersed with activities like spot the difference, mix and match, quiz, so as to maximize the students' attention and to keep them engaged throughout the presentation. Next slide, please. So we start off with a spot the difference activity so that students can better relate to the topic and to also get them thinking about how their own actions affect the planet and how anyone can make a positive impact. Next slide, please. So once the students are engaged, we delve into the science behind climate change and what's causing it. Next slide, please. So before getting into the tricky parts, we want students to be able to clearly define relevant terms. As this is an interactive presentation, we encourage teachers to pause and ask the audience what they think the two words weather and climate mean and how they differ. They can then reveal the definitions and their connection to climate change. Next slide, please. To keep students interested, we ensured that information would be delivered in various different formats. So this short video made by NASA explains global warming and the greenhouse effect in a fun and easy to understand manner. So Inka, if you could play the video.
What is the greenhouse effect? Earth is a comfortable place for living things. It's just the right temperature for plants and animals, including humans, to thrive. Why is Earth so special? Well, one reason is the greenhouse effect. A greenhouse is a building with glass walls and a glass roof. The clear glass allows sunlight to shine into the greenhouse while also trapping the sun's heat inside. This is how a greenhouse keeps plants warm even at night and in the winter. The greenhouse effect keeps Earth warm in pretty much the same way. Earth isn't surrounded by glass, but it is surrounded by a jacket of gases called the atmosphere. In the daytime, the sun shines through the atmosphere, warming Earth's surface. After the sun goes down, Earth's surface cools. This releases heat back into the air, but some of that heat is trapped by the gases in the atmosphere. These heat-trapping gases are called greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide, water vapor, and methane are all examples of greenhouse gases. Earth needs a balance of greenhouse gases to maintain just the right temperature for living things. But some human activities are changing Earth's natural greenhouse effect. For example, burning fossil fuels like coal and oil releases more carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. These extra greenhouse gases can cause the atmosphere to trap more and more heat, leading to a warmer Earth. NASA satellites are constantly measuring the gases in our atmosphere from space. They've observed increases in the amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. The information from NASA satellites can help scientists figure out where greenhouse gases are coming from and how they are ending up in our atmosphere. This information will help us better understand the impact that greenhouse gases have on our climate and help us better understand this very special greenhouse that we call home. Find out more about our Earth at NASA Climate Kids.
So after this video, we encourage teachers to run a quick recap to ensure all students have understood this concept. So after that, teachers can then introduce the main causes of climate change: burning fossil fuels. Next slide, please. Deforestation. Next slide, please. And mass farming. So all three of these activities produce massive amounts of greenhouse gases. And most importantly, human beings are responsible for them. This way, students will be able to connect their own actions to climate change. Next slide. At the end of the section, we have a mix and match activity to avoid information overload and to allow students to apply and consolidate the knowledge they have just gained. So I'll now pass it on to Harry to continue.
Hi everyone, thank you Mariam, that was really good. So the next section of the presentation, so we've already looked at what climate change is, hopefully give the kids an overview, and then we now move on to looking at the impacts and effects of climate change, really trying to answer the question, why does all of this matter, and especially for children that are sitting there in a classroom, why does all of this matter for them? Next slide please. So yeah, if you just stay on this slide for a bit. So basically the idea of the next few slides is we're trying to bring to light some serious consequences of climate change, but in an informative yet child-friendly way. So, for example, if you note this slide, rising sea levels, it's a serious problem. However, the idea is to keep the text simple, to make the explanation accessible, and also to introduce these kind of funny-ish pictures that hopefully keeps kids engaged and keeps them interested, and it will help their learning as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, so again, the same goes for this slide, more extreme weather. Again, the idea is simplicity, accessibility, but also to keep them engaged. Next slide. Yeah, the same again. So next slide, please. Next slide, please. And so that, yeah, so that's the idea behind those first 4 slides. And then this is a really cool slide, we think. So this brings it close to home for whatever students we're talking to. So we've seen the global impacts, but this makes it more local. So what this slide allows schools to do is to personalize it, so they can insert their own picture, insert their council area, and then insert impacts on the local area of climate change. So this hopefully, as I say, brings it close to home for students. And allows students to connect with climate change at a more local level. So I put an example at the bottom there, using Stratford Climate's website, looking at some of the environmental impacts on Stratford of climate change, such as river flooding, habitat destruction, and this makes it makes schools able to basically personalise it and help students connect with the local area. Next slide, please. And yeah, so the final part of this section is the quiz. So as Mariam touched upon, we think it's really key to reinforce previous learning, and not only to reinforce it, but make it interactive. So this is why the quiz has been used. So it's a simple question and answer relating to some of the information in the slides before. Next slide, please. Yeah, so for example, that question was, will it rise or fall? Simple answers, simple explanation. And we basically hope that it allows children to reinforce and consolidate their learning. Also, this quiz can be taken out of this presentation and used just as an external resource on its own, which hopefully we think is helpful as well. So yeah, if you just flick through the rest of this, and I shall pass it on to Inka.
Thank you, Harry. Sorry for any tech difficulties. So yeah, what can you do? Because it's not all about us and what we've done, but it's about what can you do. So for this section, we have we're going to speak about pledges, challenges, and a bit more. So this is like for the children, it's still building on the resources that we would like to give to schools and for anyone to access. So I thought I'd start this section off with a challenge yourself, but also positively challenging others, because it's all very well challenging yourself, but it can be quite nice to work with other people or say, oh, have you thought about this? So I've broken it down into activities, pledges, actions, goals, and share. So this means kind of like helping each other, teaching each other, and learning with and from others. So these just suggest a few ideas. So for example, the positively challenging others, this will make a little bit more sense in a moment. But for the activities, creating a zoo of animals made from litter and unused objects with your friends in class. So it's just getting children involved and having a bit of fun, because climate change it is scary, it can be daunting, but we don't want children to feel overwhelmed or terrified. Like, that is not the purpose of this. We want children to educate, to inform, and to feel like they can really make a difference, because we can each make a difference. So moving on to the first activity, create a creature. I was inspired by our first meeting with Escape Arts when they talked to us about the creatures that they've made out of recycled materials. And this made me think about how each child could do this. So I thought, well, step 1, children could think of their favorite animal, and then they could collect the litter from either their school bag, their community, their home on their way to school. And then they can use this litter to create their favorite creature and just have a bit of fun with it. And this is how they could then create a zoo in their class. So activity 2 kind of builds on this. Now, they don't have to have created a creature for it. They could just have an image of their favorite animal, and it just uses their senses. So this means that all ages are kind of catered for, because they can focus on what can they hear. So can they hear litter being dropped? Can they see any litter? Can they pick it up? Because just by picking up the litter, they can then understand that they are doing something, they are making an impact. So activity 3 is kind of like a Dr. Dolittle activity. So it's like talking with the animals, because not all people realise that animals do have feelings. They do feel pain, they do feel discomfort, they do feel happiness. And so I think it's really important that children understand, and adults understand, that what their positive climate actions can make a positive impact on their animal and how their animal feels. And it just gives this extra kind of connection and teaches them about a different perspective. So this is a little reminder slide, because we don't want children to feel alone. We want them to know that they can challenge themselves, they can get involved, they can work together. It is so much about working together as well as working as individuals to really just make an impact, and the future can be good. So here's some whole school challenges which they could take on. So they could use Ecosia as their web browser rather than Google. And this means that with every search, they have pledged to plant a tree. So it's really fantastic and it's really easy. So yeah, and now I'm going to pass on to Dunya.
Hi Inka, thank you. So I will be talking about the video. So as I've mentioned before, I came a little bit later into the group and had a meeting with Inka actually, and she said we're thinking of doing an assembly video, a video to be included in the presentation that can be shown in a school assembly. So I said, oh, that sounds like my cup of tea. I'll be happy to do that because I've had experience with audio editing skills. Now, truth is, when I actually came to it, I was like, why did I offer myself to do this? Because I don't understand anything. I have absolutely no video editing skills, at least not to the standard I thought I had. But I managed to persevere with Alice's help as well, giving me tips and advice on software to use. I managed to find a software that was somewhat simple and create a video for the children. Now, the purpose of this video is to cover the general content that has been covered so far in the presentation, but I made sure to have an emphasis on what they can do at home, but also for them to take the initiative to learn more. As you'll see in the video, I also wrote the script. I made sure to put an emphasis for the children to understand that there is more to be learnt, and climate change isn't a simple matter, but hopefully inspire the children to question themselves more and question the adults around them. What is climate change? What is this big thing that we're making a deal out of? So the images, simple images that correlate with what the narrators are saying. And again, we wanted to have a different resource for more visual learners. You will notice that each member of the team narrates a different part, which allows for us to all showcase our different accents, which I believe advertises to different children from all parts of the world. And I think it actually sounds really cool as well. And yes, well, I hope you guys will enjoy the video. Inka, if you could please play it.
Thank you.
Why should we care about climate change? Well, climate change is increasingly affecting all of us, and it could lead to a future of uncertainty and destruction. Everyone's actions matter in combating climate change, and every person can help the planet by doing easy peasy things.
But what is climate change, and how does it affect us? Simply put, the Earth is getting hotter and hotter. Although warm, sunny days in January might seem like a good thing, it isn't. The drastic consequences this could have on planet Earth are rising sea levels, extreme weather, animals becoming extinct, and more icky diseases.
But why is climate change happening? Well, sadly, a lot of it is humans' fault. Actions like burning fossil fuels, cutting down trees, and large-scale farming all contribute greatly to climate change. Years and years of doing these have led us to where we are now, and if we don't stop, things will not get better.
You are probably thinking, how can I help? Well, the Escape Arts team have a bunch of different learning resources for you to properly understand the impact of climate change and what it means. However, there are things you can do at home to help.
For example, turn the lights off when you're not using them, as this wastes electricity. Don't leave the taps running unnecessarily, because water management is very important in fighting climate change.
Recycling is a huge part of combating the problem of climate change. Have you ever heard of the phrase reuse, reduce, recycle? If items are still in good condition, you can recycle them, things like plastic bags and paper.
Climate change is a big problem that affects all of us, grown-ups and children alike. The planet needs your help, guys. Challenge yourself and let's protect the environment together.
Why should we care about
Right, we'll move on to the poster group now. Sorry about that. Although it's a very good video, Dunya, I don't think everyone will listen to it twice in a row, maybe afterwards. Thank you so much, Dunya, for all your hard work, because I have to say, none of us were sure how we're going to tackle it until Dunya came along and she was like, yeah, I can tackle it. It's like, thank you. Okay, anything we can do to help. But anyway, I'm going to pass over to the poster group and yeah.
So early on in the project, we decided to make a set of posters aimed to give the students an overview of the effects of climate change and what they can do to combat it. The posters themselves are short and simple compared to the presentation because we realized that students wouldn't be as engaged with them compared to a presentation. Next slide, please. Posters seem like a good idea to us because they're an easy resource for schools, whether that be purely an online resource or printed out. Along with this, posters would be easy for escape artists to update and change throughout the years to fit whatever theme they want. For the main poster topics, of course, we had a simple explanation of climate change's cause and effects. We also chose some key ways that students would be able to act against climate change. This included things like reducing electricity use, changing how they eat, or conserving water, and more. Because we were focused on what primary school students could do, we limited our tips to mainly things that they could do without their parents. I'll pass it on to Carly to talk about the design of the posters themselves.
Thank you, Anderson. So firstly, as we flick through all of the posters our team has created, you will realize that most of the posters have been kept to about 2 to 3 tips. This was created for simplicity and to ensure that the children don't feel too overwhelmed with what they can do or that they feel forced to carry out all of these tips. A lot of the writing are also accompanied with pictures, both simple drawings as well as real photos from Reason Escape Arts Project. We also realized we couldn't have paragraphs and paragraphs of writing on the posters, so we try to make sure that the topic and the tips are the biggest eye catcher of each poster, so children will at the very least take home the main message. Consistent designs across all the posters include the Escape Arts logo, the statement, "Make an impact," as a reminder that children can make a change in the world, as well as the Earth logo. The color scheme of each poster was also chosen carefully to allow for easy association between the topics, such as brown and green for the poster on planting trees, as you can see on the slide now, or a blue background for the poster surrounding reduction of water use, which will be coming up. You may have also noticed a recurring line of Climate Week 2021. This is a topic that inspired most of our resources. Some cities, such as New York City, have already implemented this idea, but they focus more on raising awareness of climate change and are generally targeted towards behaviors for adults, such as switch to a more friendly energy resource. So our team, however, will strive to have Climate Week 2021 concentrate the idea of climate change into schools and provide simple tips that the children can easily implement. Running for a week, a different topic will be introduced daily in class, and to achieve this, we plan for one poster to be shown each day alongside some activity sheets that will be later shown. We believe that not only will this inspire children, it will also inspire the teachers at school, as well as adults such as parents. In terms of catering our posters to the audience of children, we realize that there's quite a big age range. Some posters have some simple reasoning behind why the topics are important, but in this sense, we recognize that cognitive ability between primary school children of all grades will vary. Hadia will explain this a little bit more, as well as other considerations we took into account.
Thank you, Kylie. So as she mentioned, I'm now going to discuss some considerations, learnings, and key points that we discovered throughout the process of creating the posters. And Throughout the process, we were very aware that our target audience is primary school children with a varied age range. So we ensure that the language we use is very simple and specific, so as to not overwhelm or overcomplicate any of the information or tips in the posters. Another consideration we had whilst designing the posters was having an awareness of our colour choices. We specifically chose high contrast colours for anyone who may be colourblind, but also to make everything just easy to see and read. It was also very important for us to keep consistent with the theme of being environmentally friendly and sustainable by having the posters as a digital resource rather than a physical one. This also minimises wastage and allows for ease of distribution. Aside from providing lots of different information and tips in our posters, I also wanted to highlight that we made a creative recycling poster that you can see on the slide for the school children, so that there's a link between Escape Arts' Plastic Planets project and their window display, which is beautiful, and also our Climate Week idea. So this will encourage them to think about recycling in a way that is more fun, visual, and creative. I will now pass on to Inka, who will discuss another poster and activity sheets.
Thank you, Hadia. So because part of our brief, not only was it creating resources, but it became evident that pledges were a really important part. Just part of kind of each person kind of taking a bit of responsibility and aiming for something, aiming for the difference that they want to make. And so we thought it was important to create a poster that reiterates this. So make a pledge, make an impact. And I thought, first of all, I think it's important to clarify what is a pledge, because not everyone may know exactly what is meant by the word pledge. So I wanted to incorporate this onto the poster, as well as suggestions as to what you can do to make a difference. And I thought challenging yourself can be difficult, but also really good fun, and something that they could do either by themselves or in a group. And so I just thought I'd include that as well in the poster, as well as other elements to link all the posters together. I'd also like to point out that on quite a few of the posters, we have linked like the coloured dots or certain aspects of the posters to the Escape Arts logo, as they have these lovely coloured dots within the logo, just to show that connection, because our project is part of Escape Arts. And so now I'm going to talk about the activity sheets that have been created, as variety really is paramount. Like, to keep people interested, you need some variety. You don't want it all to be the same. That's why, as you've seen, we have created a vast array of different things. So we've got the presentation, got the video, posters, and activity sheets. And so these were based on some of the activities that have already been touched upon. So for example, the true or false, that is based upon the quiz, just so children can test their knowledge, have a discussion with each other, but also they could work on it at home or with their parents. They could test their parents if they wanted to. And it's just so these can be done by themselves at home or in a class. They could be easily distributed or just put up online. And then also a dot to dot and a litter picking poster, like activity sheet. And each of these posters tends to have a couple of different levels. So for example, the dot to dot. So first of all, you can complete the dot to dot, then you can personalize your hero, and then you can think about what would your hero do to save the planet. So this is just to help cater for the range of ages. And also, I don't know about you guys, but I still quite like a dot to dot. So I think it can really help all primary school children. And this is to spot the difference you saw at the beginning, just to help hone their information, and so they're learning actively as well as passively, because this is really important. It's really important to learn in different ways and challenge yourself. And this is to help the information sink in a bit more. So now I'm going to pass over to Mariam, who hopefully, fingers crossed, it all works. But yeah, I'll let her explain a bit more.
So thanks, Inka. So like Harry mentioned earlier, we also made a separate quiz that can be used on its own. So we turned it into a game of sorts. So if you'll go to the next slide, we'll go over one question as an example. So you can see here the question states, will the weather be more or less extreme due to climate change? So if you click on the wrong answer, which is less, it'll take you to this oops slide. And then if you click on try again, you get another shot at answering the question. And so now if you click the correct answer, it'll take you to an answer and an explanation of what the correct answer was. So the thinking behind this resource was to help students consolidate and strengthen their knowledge and to make sure that they understand the topic, but in a fun and enjoyable way. So now I'll pass it over to Harry.
Thanks, Mariam, and thanks to the rest of the team as well. So we're going to slightly change tack a little bit for this final part of the presentation. So you've seen all of our resources that we've created for schools, but this was a slightly different task as part of the project. So we were tasked with updating and improving Escape Art's own environmental policy. Next slide, please. So the idea behind this was to try and make the environmental policy more than just a piece of paper that rarely gets looked at or considered. Our aim was to make it a little bit more practical, a little bit more actionable, and to make it more implementable for Escape Arts management and also Escape Arts staff. So some of the actions we took as a team, we firstly reviewed Escape Arts' own environmental policy, of course, but we reviewed it against other charities' environmental policy documents. So we looked at the likes of Age UK, we looked at the likes of Action Against Hunger to kind of see what they did. And we noted the similarities and differences from there. After researching into other charities, we came together and decided that Escape Arts could improve their environmental policy document in 3 key ways. Firstly, putting more of an emphasis on education and training for staff. Secondly, introducing considerations about travel arrangements for staff. And thirdly, bringing in measurable targets of key resources that Escape Arts use, such as electricity and water. So as you can see, so in terms of what we changed from the environmental policy document, we adapted and improved the first section, that paragraph at the top, with those three key things in mind that I had just mentioned. In terms of the bullet points under the we will section, we kept some bullet points the same because they were really good. We updated some and we also added in some completely new ones. Just to go through some of the key bullet points, as you can see, there are 3 highlighted there. So the first bullet point introduces the idea of climate positive pledges. So the idea behind climate positive pledges is to encourage staff to make their own pledges to help the environment. And that contributes to our aim of making the policy more actionable, encouraging the employees to really do something instead of just leaving the policy to not be thought about again. And it also holds the whole team to account, both management and staff. The second bullet point highlighted there talks about travel arrangements. So we've mentioned things like shared travel, a carpool or whatever, and also cycling and walking to work where possible. And this wasn't something that was included in the Escape Arts environmental policy before, and we think it's a really key inclusion to have moving forward. And the final bullet point there talks about measurable targets. So for example, what we have in mind is, let's say, for example, on Escape Arts water bills, just looking at the water bills at the end of 1 year, annually reviewing it, and then moving forward and setting a new target to try and reduce it the next year, and reviewing that and working forward like that. And it's just a simple way, again, to hold the team a little bit more to account and to make it more real, more actionable. So the result of this environmental policy document, we hope, is something that, as I say, holds senior management and staff more to account with that target setting, with the annual review, and something that's more practical, more implementable, and less abstract. And overall, obviously, we hope it equates to better environmental outcomes for Escape Arts. So I'm now going to pass over to Hadia for the final bit of the presentation that is a supplementary document to the policy document. Thank you.
Amazing, thank you, Harry. So as Harry mentioned, the pledges and incentives sheet is supplementary to the environmental policy, and we've used it to try to encourage Escape Arts to also pledge for the planet as a team, since we've been encouraging schools to do that as part of our project. So these pledges are all specific to Escape Arts and also a work environment. So we researched different possible pledges and selected ones that hopefully will be the easiest to implement as a team and in a work environment. For example, deleting unwanted emails from inboxes, using the Cozy extension, and also encouraging more sustainable methods of transport for commuting to work. This continues the theme of the environmental policy of making steps for the planet more practical, specific, and measurable. The document also encourages having an accountability body to track progress within the team, and also setting a target date for your pledges. The next section of the document lists possible incentives and rewards that escape arts and other organisations can implement for actions and pledges taken for our planet. So these include introducing a car share or even a bicycle share scheme, giving people a social media feature, gifting plants or something like a reusable tote bag, and many other ideas too. The general purpose is to ensure that behaviours and actions taken for our planet are recognised, rewarded, and encouraged. We also want to inspire and encourage other organisations to take similar pledges, both individually and within their workplaces, because together we can make a difference for our planet. This now brings us to the end of our presentation. On behalf of all of the Teamwork students, I want to thank you all very much for listening, and we would now like to open up the floor for any questions you may have.
Can I just say a huge thank you to everybody who worked so hard on all of, I mean, there is so much work that has gone into that. And moving forward, it will have an incredible impact for us as an organisation. Just even spearheading local climate change weeks in schools is for us a really exciting initiative, which we hope to take to local government and to local schools and actually county government as well, because that's something every school could do. And you've made it so easy for every school to pick that up, and working with children at that young age to help inform, educate, and more importantly, inspire. I think all the resources you've created are really inspiring, and it's fantastic that it's been created through this international platform. So congratulations, everyone. I can't say enough how proud we are of every single one of you. And for Alice, who's with us for another few more weeks yet, for her incredible support, who has really spearheaded this whole project. I'm extremely proud, and I'm pretty sure Miranda, our Chair of Trustees, would like to say a few words, but I'm going to be quiet now and let others speak. But thank you. Brilliant. You've been amazing, all of you.
Well, Karen, would you like me to say something now?
Oh, yes, please, Miranda.
Oh,
I feel quite emotional.
I've been scribbling notes, and so I want to say it all, so bear with me on this. First of all, I really just want to thank you all for being involved with Escape Arts and doing this fantastic project. I just thought the way you have collaborated together across jurisdictions in a pandemic during lockdown has been superb. And the work you've done, the way you came across was very professional. It was clear, it was informative and very well articulated. And I do love the concept that you have is basically educating youth and going to the primary schools, because obviously they are the future and we oldies are ruining the planet for them. So you're educating us as well. It is a great idea, and I like the positive challenges that you also set out, because Escape Arts is all about working within the community and the local community, and that, you know, I love that idea that we can take it on board, not just for our for the youngsters, but for our local community and for ourselves as well. I thought the presentation, what I liked about it was the flexibility and how you can use those slides. And I also liked how you've used the way that Escape Art is, which is all about using arts and creativity. And I'm a great believer in using visuals because I have a very simple brain. And so visuals are really a fantastic tool for educating. I love obviously the presentation, the slides, the posters, the videos, and the activity sheets. I've done a couple of courses during lockdown at Open University one, and those multiple choice questions with the feedback, you know, where you do the false or the true or whatever, and you get the feedback. That's exactly how they do it. So I thought it was excellent. I do promise you, we will look at the art show later on. Hold on a minute. I do promise that we will look at the pledges and policy of Escape Arts. Your hard work on that will not just be put in a bin. I will take it to the board level and we will look at it at the board, because you've got some very valid points there. In terms of you as individuals, I noticed with interest, because I did politics and international studies as my first degree at Warwick University, and I noticed, and that OU course I did was the STEM course. really interesting that you come from a background of politics and sciences. A lot of you had that in there, which is, I can see why you were engaged with this, and it really came across. In terms of the skills that you seem to have learned, and I think you must have them already, your creativity, your ability to communicate with each other, you certainly show the diverse elements, and I love the different accents coming across on that presentation, because this is a global issue, and you coming across like that with the way you presented with that accent on that video was fantastic, I thought, because we didn't see, but we could hear the accents, and it really had a massive impact. I just thought you've learned about sustainability, you've dealt with the challenges, you've all had these challenges with the time zones and with the tech and all that, but I think you've really informed, you've really inspired, and I think you're going to have fantastic, you already have it, leadership skills. So I wish you all the very best in your careers. You're going to be very successful, you lot. Fantastic cohort, well done.
Thank you so much from all of us. Yeah, I think all your feedback was amazing. I just want to quickly say, and also I think our team is they are amazing. The whole team is amazing, including that escape art, and I think it's just been a pleasure to work with everyone. And we have meetings twice, 3 times a week, maybe even more. And it's never been, oh no, got a meeting. It's been like, yes, okay, what should we do today? And it's just been so nice. It's been brilliant. So yeah, thank you for all your feedback.
There's been some really interesting things posted in the chat. I don't know, Neve, I'm not very good at accessing the chat. Could you have a look at them? Because there's some really good recommendations. We did invite our local politician. We didn't get a response, sadly, but we will forward this and we will continue this campaign. But Neve, can I just hand over to you to go through some of those comments?
Yes, yeah. So when the feedback, again, as we've already heard from Karen and Miranda, has been overwhelmingly positive. And I just want to say as well to all of you, well done. You are so inspiring. And again, I'm just blown away with what you've achieved over the last 4 weeks. So yes, the comments in the chat have largely been around getting these records. So David Chapman from Warwick University put a comment in the chat about getting these documents into the adults in government, which was seconded by Helen Hyde-Wright, who suggested sending it to our MP, Nadeem Zahawi, and the Education Secretary, Gavin Williamson, which absolutely, I think this work needs to be recognised. This work is so important, and all the things that have already been discussed about how you've articulated it and presented it in such a clear way. It's so accessible for these people to pick this information up. So absolutely, we will be taking this further. We will be taking this to our MP. Yes, we didn't get a response from him about today, but we will get this to him. So some further comments that have just come in as I've been speaking. So we've had a message from Janet, who's from Stratford Friends of the Earth, who's commented saying, again, complimented the fantastic resources that you've all created, and whether or not you had the time to trial them in schools, and how it went with creating your own pledges. Because I know that this was some of the conversations that we had at the beginning about having your own personal pledges to take forward what you're going to do as individuals to help the planet. So how did that go?
I pick on people. Hadia, do you want to go first?
Yep, so I think just due to the timeline of the sort of project and because schools were closing, we weren't able to trial them in schools, but I think that would be fantastic going forward.
Yeah.
And I think just in terms of the second question, I'll briefly touch on it. I don't think a formal pledge per se, but definitely I think all of us were really blown away by the Ecosia extension and installed it immediately. And I think this was a learning that I personally felt I had throughout the internship, was such a much better understanding of just what I can do for the environment myself. And I think it was very inspiring to learn that and then try and educate other people on that as well. So completely, I agree with your comments.
And Anderson, have you made any pledges, or anyone else from the team?
To my eternal shame, I did not make any pledges. It's terrible. Yeah.
But I think a lot of us have already used the Ecosia extension, which we didn't know about beforehand. So it's right, quick, do that. So we've been using that. which has been brilliant. And it's just nice it's just nice to see that you can make a difference just by searching on the internet, which I feel like, well, with COVID, we just do every day. So it's just great I feel like they're going to need a whole nother planet just for all the trees they need to plant. But yeah, it's great. We've definitely learned a lot without a doubt. And yeah, I think we do all want to make a difference in our own way moving forward. We've learned so much.
Karen, can I just say something? Hi, guys.
Hi, Penny.
I'm Penny from Welcome Radio, which is the local community radio in Stratford-on-Avon. We're a not-for-profit organisation, and we support all the kind of things. Karen and I have worked together 2 or 3 times, haven't we, on various projects. And I think this will talking to you would make a fascinating program. I do a program once a week on a Friday, but also we have outside broadcasting equipment, and I think later on in the year it would be really good if one of the schools was going to use this, then we could actually record and broadcast an actual session with children using your packs. So if that would be agreeable, any way we can help you and support you, we will.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Penny. I mean, the idea is obviously the schools are out now for the summer.
Yes.
But leading up to the COP26 conference,
yes,
we want to get these resources into schools, and that gives us the perfect platform to launch this. So this is really the start, and these incredible people have done all of this work for us. I would love to interview you on a Zoom conference to do a program around what you've done. Lovely.
I'd just love to chip in and say to Penny that Dunya, I don't know if Dunya would like to say anything, but actually Dunya would really like to go into radio, and she is amazing. So I was just thinking, make this connection. I might pass over to Dunya.
Where is she?
Yep, here I am. Thanks, Inka.
Dunya, sorry, where do you live?
I'm in London.
You're in London?
Yes.
No problems. I won't do it now, obviously, but if we could have a link up, then I can talk to you about what our radio does, and you can we can do an interview and chat about what you would like to do.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Inka. Inka's helps. We're all a bit shy, and Inka's our voice for us sometimes. So thank you.
Your voices are fine. I've only been on the radio since I retired, so and I'd never even picked up a microphone then. So if I can speak, you spoke so eloquently on there. It would do really well on radio or television.
Thank you. Thank you, Penny. We'll talk later. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, lovely. Yes, we can get you two connected. I'll make an introduction. So just one more question that's come through on the chat from Dion, who's having lots of ideas. I think Dion's feeling very inspired. There we go, she's nodding. And she wants to know whether any of you plan to share the messages that you've learned and created over the last few weeks within your own communities across the world.
Yeah, taking this one. So one of the things we thought we'd do early on in the project was, after we'd created all of these resources, to go to our own local councils and our own local schools. And sadly, to be honest, we kind of ran out of time, and schools' terms came to an end, and it wasn't feasible. But it's definitely something that we'd all like to do moving forward, and especially for the international guys and girls amongst us, because I know that's a big part of this, and obviously it's very useful to spread it around the UK, but I think we can really utilise and emphasise the international element of this, and spread escape arts across the globe. So yeah, I think we're really excited about that, and we'll definitely move that forward, Dion. Yeah.
And I think what we'd like to say on behalf of Escape Arts is that, it's never the end when the project comes to an end, and we would love for all of you if you've got the time or the capacity to stay connected with us, you could be our future. You are our climate change champions across the world. That would look fantastic on your CV, but it would be amazing for us to keep that contact with you and keep learning and sharing and developing work together in as much or as little as you have the capacity to offer. But it would be really important for us to keep that connection with you all.
I think it would be fantastic to build on this. And during like an interview, there was a project mentioned about sustainability packs, and I thought, oh my goodness, right, okay, I need to link up escape arts, and I need to link up this person, and yeah. So hopefully, lots of linking can happen, and we can just build from this. And yeah, we've all just had a fantastic time. So I'm sure any and all of us would love to continue to help when and where we can.
Fantastic.
Oh no, that's wonderful. And, you know, we've absolutely loved working with all of you as well. We found your work on this project to be incredibly inspiring. So again, massive thank you from all of us here. It's been a pleasure. So that sort of is the end. We've got some more comments of praise. I will save all of the comments on the chat and share it with you afterwards so that we can collate all of your positive feedback. Has anybody got any final questions, comments before we sign off? I'll let you shout at me.
I just want to quickly add that me and Morgana and Neve are working on the website, which all of the resources the teams make will go on, so everyone will have access, and then I'll make sure to send them out to everybody so you guys can have a proper look at all the content created, because I think the presentation's been amazing, but all of the resources, like the team has made such an immense effort in making all the information and stuff. So it'd be really lovely for you guys to have a proper look at the presentation, the resources and the posters everyone's made. I just want to say I'm so proud and privileged to have like worked with all of you.
Oh, thank you, Alice. Yes, that's crucially important. Alice and Morgana and I are going to be sitting down next week to collate all of these fantastic resources and put them on our website. So we will make sure to share this with you all. And a massive thank you as well to Alice, who's been the interns mentor and supporter and champion over the last 4 weeks. You've been absolutely incredible. And we're, again, so delighted to be working with you, Alice. You've made such an impact on the Plastic Planet project over here. And I, you know, can tell from the fantastic work the interns have done and the feedback that they've given you as well, just how fantastic and how crucial you've been to this project. So thank you. Lovely. Has anybody got any final words, final comments? Lovely. Well, thank you so much for attending, everyone. Do keep an eye on our social media and our website for any more updates and for the resources that will come out, and we'll be sharing this video later on today. I'll get this uploaded onto our YouTube and out this afternoon. So lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you again to our wonderful international interns for all your hard work. We're so inspired by you all, and thank you to Alice as well. So take care and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye everyone.
Yeah, thank you.